Hey everybody, Tubal Kane here again. This is going to be another one in the K.I.S.S series, Keep It Simple, Stupid. The idea that the nerds are trying to overcomplicate our world to explain away all the coincidences that have to go down for us to even exist. And the idea that ballers continue to say the reason we don't feel any movement of the earth is because we're moving at a constant speed. Moving at this constant speed, we feel nothing. So I'm going to try to again relate the motions we're dealing with when talking about earth compared to, as they say, flying in a jet. Ballers like to use the theory that when you're flying in a jet at that constant speed, no more acceleration, no climbing, no declining, straight level flying speed, that the stewardess can get up, walk back, pour you coffee, and no movement is felt. And they're relating that to Earth's movement. That's why we don't feel anything. Well, I want to make sure we all understand this. Here's my little model airplane. That's all I could come up with, people. Again, I don't have much for props. I'm trying to get hired as a shill so I can make some money here, so that's why I'm starting on videos. I got an application the other day, my shill application. I'm going to fill it out and I'll let you guys know all about that, because why not be a shill and make money? But in the meantime, here's my little plane. And so what ballers are claiming is as this thing's cruising along nice and level at a constant speed, we'll feel nothing. It'll feel like we're standing still so the stewardess can come up and give you your coffee. So again, here's our plane coming into sight, flying level, and that's supposed to mimic the Earth's movement. Well, since I don't have a globe because I don't believe in it, I'll just use something that's round, a balloon again. Now, somehow, ballers, nerds, zealots, I'll tell you that, are trying to say that the constant spin with a tilt and a wobble and the motion of going around the sun at 60-some thousand miles an hour, which they say is irrelevant on something so big, but no. 60-some thousand miles an hour is still 60-some thousand miles an hour, and that is moving towards the sun and then around it. And on this elliptical orbit around the sun, the distance from the center of Earth to the center of the sun changes if we're on an elliptical orbit, not a perfect circle. So with those changes in distance from center of sun to center of Earth, coming and going, speed should be changing. Because it's going further away from the sun and having to whip around to come back, and then as it's going by, it's closer to the sun. So there should be different changes in speeds as it's going on an elliptical orbit, not a perfect circle. So we have spinning on its axis, it's revolving around the sun. I'll just use those two motions, let alone the tilt and the wobble. So now we're going to come back to our little plane. And I'm not even going to talk about this motion. No, we're flying over a flat surface of your ball, nerds. All right? So I'm explaining this for the ballers. We're not flying over the curve. No, we're flying level at a constant speed where you people say that's why we don't feel anything, and that relates to us moving on Earth. Well, let me explain one thing. That for the plane and Earth to have the same motions, this little plane would have to be rotating on its axis, doing 360s non-stop. Constant, sure, but it's got to be spinning on its axis, and we're not going to put a tilt and a wobble in there. So as this plane's flying level, then it needs to be spinning like this, on its axis, spinning. Then, with its spin, it needs to be flying in a circle. Yeah, still level to the ground, but not a straight line. It needs to fly in a circle. Now, I think most people will understand if you're in a plane going 300-400 miles an hour, and you make a turn, shoom, there's a force that's throwing you out. So for Earth's movement and this plane's movements to be the same, comparing apples to apples and not apples to oranges, this plane now needs to be spinning. And not only spinning, flying in an elliptical path, staying level the whole time, shoom, shoom, while spinning. I would like to see that stewardess get up and go pour some coffee in that type of movement. Because that is what the Earth is doing. Spinning at 1,000 at the equator and spinning 65,000 miles an hour around the sun. And we feel none of it. So for you to use your argument, ballers, that it equates to us driving in a car and an ant walking across the dashboard, or us flying in a plane in a nice straight level line with no acceleration, we feel nothing, yes. But for it to equate to the movements of Earth, it needs to be rotating on its axis and flying in a circle. So ballers, break out your calculators, your slide rules, your protractors, and put the formulas together to let us know a plane that might weigh a few thousand pounds, moving at 300 miles an hour, spinning on its axis, flying in a circle, make up any radius you want on the circle or an elliptical orbit, and tell me all the forces that are at play inside this enclosed system that you want to say equates to us moving on this spinning ball. Bullshit. The Earth is not spinning. It ain't moving. Because for this to equate to it, that is exactly what has to be done. And that's not happening, is it? No. Planes just fly straight. And again, I'm not even talking about flying over a curve and having the nose down bullshit. No. Just simple fact that baller nerds try to say the reason we don't feel any movement, and there's multiple movements and forces at play that somehow are negated. Because what, we exist in a vacuum? That's bullshit. That's a man-made term in a man-made environment and a man-made concept. So there is no, it doesn't matter what happens in a vacuum. It's irrelevant. You know why? Because we don't live in a fucking vacuum. We deal with friction. We deal with solids, mass, gases, temperature changes. Not a vacuum. So it's irrelevant what goes on in a vacuum. So ballers, quit bringing up a vacuum. It is irrelevant. So again, ballers, the equation of the forces that are at play when an object moving 300 miles an hour with a few thousand pounds starts spinning and going in circles. What kind of forces are at play? And you're going to tell me I can get a cup of coffee poured in that type of environment? Good luck. Because only a nerd will accept it. It's bullshit. We're not spinning. Again, flat lines matter, not ballers' zealot belief in water sticking to the bottom of a spinning ball. Out, motherfuckers.